Hello and welcome to your Spring 1 PE staff meeting. Today we're going to have a look at why we're focusing on PE now, what our vision of the school is, how we're going to get there, and any questions you may have. Some of these things that we're going to put in place obviously aren't relevant right now, but as soon as we get back to normal, or when we get back to normal, they will be. So first of all, why PE now? We're looking at PE as we've revised all other curriculum areas. We didn't focus on this initially because obviously we have an outside agency that come in. We've already achieved bronze awards in the school games mark, and we're in a position to progress further, hopefully to gold. And we have had a look and hoping to achieve our PE quality mark. And by completing the audits, we know what we need to focus on now, and obviously we know what we're doing really well at the moment. So our vision going forward for PE is to have enrichment back, hopefully, which there'll be lots more sports opportunities within that. To have PE with greater goals minimum 3 times a year, which when enrichment was in place, I do know some year groups weren't having this opportunity, and I'll go on to how that's going to work a little bit later on. When greater goals are not teaching, teachers will be covering these unit of works, and training up is provided later in the year for this. It's nothing to worry about. We're going to be following some Valsaven units, which lots of staff have done anyway. And if you've not already taught through that scheme, then it's really simple. But again, there will be some training further in the year, so that everyone feels confident with that. So there is going to be an emphasis on teachers being in PE lessons because they're going to be teaching it going forward from September. So our PE is not only a lesson for the children, but it's also continuous CPD for us. And Adam has said that he will work with anybody who wants to in even like delivering, if the teacher delivers, say, a starter session, and then Adam teaches the main bit and you might do like a cool down at the end if you want to gain a bit more confidence and don't feel like you're ready to teach a full lesson at the moment. And then the clubs are to match the school games competition. So at the minute, the way we work, we just have clubs that we feel the children will enjoy, which they will be clubs that they'll enjoy, but they'll also have a purpose. So they'll marry up to the games competitions that we're going to take part in. So hopefully we can win a few more of those. So the long-term plan here, which you can see in front of you, I've just realised the year 4 one is a slight change, but it is updated on the system. If it's highlighted in red, that's where Red Lane will be teaching. So you, as a member of the staff, will be teaching the lesson. Purple is greater goals. So, for example, if I take year 2 here, in autumn 1, I'll be teaching the dance unit. It tells you exactly what unit it is. So I'll go to my Valsaven resources, I'll have a look at that unit, and it's all there for me. And then in autumn 2, greater goals will be teaching dodgeball, and that'll either be Adam or Beth, depending on the day that my P falls on. Spring 1, Adam or Beth will be teaching again, and that is like the overall objective of from the curriculum of what the children need to achieve, aiming, kicking, and tennis. But what I've tried to do is give it a purpose in different year groups so that children are getting more experience of different sports rather than just, for example, dodgeball, rounders, and football, which is what we was tending to stay towards. So they're going to get a variety of different sports. So, for example, if they've done tennis here, they'll do cricket and rounders, and later in their academic years at Red Lane, they won't do tennis necessarily. Again, they'll focus on hockey, netball, different sports, but maybe with the same objective. Then in autumn 2, I've got gymnastics, which again is a Valsaven scheme that we're going to be using. It tells me the units there, so I'll just focus on those units and teach from that scheme. Then in summer, you can see throughout summer different Red Lane staff are teaching different units, and they're not from Valsaven. So the Valsaven units we've bought into are dance and gymnastics. But when I have done this, I've tried to put it as a simple topic or something that I feel like we'll all have experience in. And I've give people a choice, so whatever they feel more confident in. So striking and fielding, either cricket or rounders. That might change in future years, so it is a specific one. But while we're getting used to back to teaching PE again, so staff can choose what they would like to. So, for example, here I'm trying to think where I've done it again. Netball or football in year 6. So whatever the staff feel more confident in teaching out of those two, hockey or football here. Where you have got athletics, and there is no choice in that, obviously within athletics there is a choice of what you focus on. Hope that makes sense. And then in summer 2, again it'll be purple. Sorry. So Adam will be teaching that or red, depending on the day. So we've now got a really clear long-term plan, which also progresses throughout the years as well. So if we take, for example, Autumn 1 across Red Lane, we've got children who'll do orienteering in year 3 and then they'll revisit it again in year 5, building on the skills that they've already learned in year 3. And then the same with the fundamentals of creative games and making. They'll do it in year 4 and then revisit it in year 6. And then it's the same throughout, or tries to be the same throughout. So for example, in summer 1, they've got tennis in year 3 and they'll revisit that in year 5. In year 4, they'll do cricket or rounders, whichever they've done in year 4, they'll revisit in year 6. So we're looking at like the progression document that we've seen for all the other subjects. It'll be the same throughout PA. Obviously, it doesn't always work exactly how we'd like it to, just because there's a few more objectives that we need to teach, so we can't just keep revisiting the same ones, but where it does work, we have tried to fit that in. I hope this makes sense. If not, just bob me an email and I'll try and explain it a bit clearer. So to get to our vision for PE, we know why we're focusing on it now. And to get there, we have got to change a few things. So there were so many things that were working really well, obviously, for us to achieve bronze in the school games mark, and for us to have so much evidence already for the PE quality mark. But there are a few things that we do need to do that are part of the national curriculum. And every child at the moment needs a personal goal. It's highlighted more even in the COVID guidance at the moment that it's a quick fix for PE where children can be being active. We have seen these before, and we did start to do them, or I know a few year groups did, but I don't think it was rolled out so that everyone had started it. So every child needs to decide on a personal goal, and it can be as simple as, and I know some people did do this, like a 60-second challenge. So for example, how many star jumps can you do within 60 seconds? And they try it on one day of the week and then the same day the next week and see if they can beat it. And it's a personal challenge, so they don't compete with anybody else. And that personal goal can be worked on throughout that half term, and then they can change it at the end of the half term. Some people focused on the Daily Mile because they tied it into what they was doing there and how quick they could run the Daily Mile, and that would also be their personal goal. But it could just be, for example, holding the plank. I have got 60-second challenge cards, which I think I've saved on the system as well, which you can pick up a random one, and it gives you an idea of what those could be if children haven't got any ideas. Here it says to be done once a day, ideally, or 3 times a week. That is so that children are achieving the personal goal and they can change it every so often, so it's not the same thing over and over. This is something that we are looking to start after half term, especially because it's something that can keep us more active and it's personal to the children and giving them a bit more of a challenge. So, as part of the things that I'll talk about that we do need to implement, it's going to help us achieve gold in the school games mark, which is such a shame because we were so close and there was tiny things that we could have done that we're in a position to do now to achieve the goal. So just to give you an idea of how we get there, we achieved bronze in we achieved it in 1819, trying to think back, but we automatically got it again in 1920 because of the position that we're all in. And this year we will keep the bronze, and we just have to do like a self-assessment, but it does mean that we can't get gold. So the gold that we'll be going for is 2020, 21, 22 year, I think, next academic year. So we're going to try to provide all pupils with 2 hours of timetable PE per week. Now, we understand that that's not always possible at Red Lane with all of the things we have got in our curriculum and our timetable. So to get around that, things like the personal goal and the Daily Mile, which I'll go on to in a minute, will help us because it's still timetabled and it's still physical activity. So all these little things like that seem like extra, it is helping us to work towards our 2 hours of PE per week, which we should be providing for the children. So we do have to host and attend lots of different competitions that are hosted by the school games mark throughout the year. So I think there's 18 in total, including like our house ones that we do within school. To achieve gold, we do need to make sure that we're advertising that we're part of the school games mark and what we're doing to that once a fortnight. Now we've got Twitter now, so it's as simple as sending a tweet once a fortnight, or putting it into our newsletter, or putting a message on Facebook when we've won a competition, which we did do anyway, but obviously at the minute we're not doing. And then we have to show that we're leading and managing, or the children are leading and managing games, which I know they do throughout with Adam and with Beth within the PE sessions, but it's not explicit enough for us to achieve gold at the moment. So as part of enrichment, we're hopefully going to be having some people from Bolton Wanderers come in and deliver a Playmakers Award, which will give the children like a qualification in leadership, and they'll be able to apply this to lunch times and break times as well, which should be really good. So in my head, the people that will be going for the Playmakers Award will be all of year 5 of next year, so that when they get to year 6, they can use this award. And also the sports captains within year 6, which again was something that we was doing, but it has just not carried on really. So I'm not sure when this is most appropriate to start. In my head, it was going to be after half term, but it just doesn't make sense because not all the children are back. So probably from September this. But we do need to select sports captains from year 6 from September, and have in mind children from year 5 who will be going into year 6 the year after that, just so that they can start like buddying up with them and learning the role. So 1 boy and 1 girl from each house team, and it did work really well the last half of last year when we did it. The children really loved it, and they did really enjoy hosting the competitions and having that element of organisation as well in their role. So I think that's something that we can maybe focus on from September. So I'd really like to have a big push on competitions, because when we go to the different competitions, we take a team that have just been practicing. They might have had like 1 or 2 practices. Now what I've done is married up the clubs that they're going to be going to after school with Adam and Beth, so that they do match the competitions that they'll be going to, so they will have practiced and understand the rules. Because I found when I was taking a lot of the children to like netball or things like that, we had the ability, but we didn't understand the rules as much, so we wasn't winning anything, and we was getting beat by tiny schools. So my competitive nature was coming out, and I think it's something that as a large school we should have a better sporting ability when we do attend these competitions. So we should celebrate this, because we do work with the children really hard and we want to show it off. So another thing I thought would be really nice is I do know some people have sports that they're passionate about or are really good at, and I think it'd be really nice that when we do start doing clubs, if staff could focus on those. So for example, if you did dance throughout like your career, which I know some people have, some staff have, it'd be really nice that you hosted a dance club, so that children are getting that really good passionate element of sports from the staff as well. And obviously, like I've mentioned, we'll be training for the competition, so when we get there we know what we're doing. So that will all link in to our long-term plan as well. And then for the PE quality mark, which I am hoping, I spoke to a lady just on Friday about the February submission date, so that it is done virtually. However, she might say that we have to do the June submission date, which might mean that she will be coming in. We do need more evidence, so especially if it does go ahead virtually, there isn't much to even show what we're doing in PE lessons other than pictures, and I think it'd be really good if we could have some videos as well. So obviously everybody's got a staff iPad at the moment. It's just a case of uploading it to Seesaw. Just a quick 5-minute clip of the objectives that they're doing and different children doing it, and it shows so much evidence, and it'll just make it a lot easier. So if I could really ask if you could just try and take your iPads into PE and just once a lesson get a quick clip, if that's okay. So I will go back through all of this, because I do know it's a lot to take in, and I will put the PowerPoint on the system for everybody. Some of you are going to hate me for this, but the Daily Mile is back. So partly the reasoning behind this is at the moment, children need to be more active, and for mental well-being, being active plays such an important part. And also because I know at the moment we're providing 2 hours of PE for most year groups because we are not doing enrichment, but usually we're not providing 2 hours of PE, and we do need to be doing. So it's a quick way of getting 5-10 minutes of exercise a day in. 10 minutes of exercise a day, 50 minutes a week, straight away, it's with your personal goal, it's your extra hour that we should be doing. So some staff might not have done this. I'm just going to give a quick recap of what it is. And I know some staff have come back to me and said, oh, we really enjoyed doing it. And I really enjoyed doing it as well. I think the children did too. And as I said before, this could be linked to the children's personal goals, so it doesn't necessarily need to be 2 separate things. They could choose their daily mile time, or how often they don't stop when running it could be their personal goal. So just a quick reminder that it gives children, obviously, avoids health conditions like obesity, which we know is a main thing at the moment within our children. Having stronger emotional well-being, which again is just so important to current times. Being safer about healthier lifestyle and just performing better at school. So I used to use it within my lessons as a brain break. It'll go on to say in a minute that we don't need to have it at 9 o'clock every morning. It can just be as and when, and I did it like that, and I found it really worked well, especially in the afternoons when I was in year 3, because it was the longer afternoon just to break that up before I went on to my next lesson. So it's really quick. It takes up to 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be that long, with no time spent changing, setting up or tidying up. So the main idea behind the daily mile is that you just go out and do it. So no one needs to change to like trainers or get raincoats on or anything like that. It's just you get out and have a go. It should be fun. So it shouldn't be, come on, keep running. They can chat to their friends. They can walk if they need to. It's that fun element. As long as they get out and they're doing some form of exercise, then. So it's always inclusive. So every child should join in every day, should enjoy the fresh air. And as I said, if you're making that fun, then children should want to do it. The weather, you should treat the weather as a benefit, not a barrier. They should enjoy being outside in all different types of weather. Obviously, you've got to use an element of judgment there and risk assessment. Like if it's icy, you're obviously not going to go out and run the daily mile. However, if it's just raining a tiny bit and the ground is fine, then that, there's no reason for us not to be out. The route that we used to do was obviously did use the field, but Adam has talked about mapping out how many times around like the playground near the cars are and going down towards the year 3, going around there. I think it was around 5 times roughly, but as long as you're running for around 10 minutes a day, it is fine. So risk, so obviously the risk assessment, it was done originally, but I will have a look at just making sure that's up to date. When to go, so it should happen during curriculum time at least 3 times a week. The class teacher should decide to go when they can go out, and they should know the needs of the class and respond to flexibility. Like I said before, it doesn't need to be a set time. They run in the school clothes without changing into kit, putting on jackets or if it's cold or damp, or taking off sweatshirts if it's warm. So they just go out and run in their clothes without having to get changed into PE or anything. At their own pace, they're done properly. It isn't a walk, but obviously children can walk because we're not forcing them to run the whole time. But they can, obviously, their personal goal could be aim to run for 5 minutes of it and keep it simple. Resist the temptation to overcomplicate it. So whenever we did it, we just went out and ran for 10 minutes or so. Hopefully you will enjoy it. So based on everything that I've been through so far, we've looked at why we're focusing on PE now, and we know that's an element of curriculum that we're now in a position to have a look at what we've done well, look at what needs a bit more work. We have got a vision, so we have got an aim of where we want to see PE, ideally from September 2021. We've now got a long-term plan which marries up to different year groups and shows progression throughout Key Stage 1, Lower Key Stage 2 and Upper Key Stage 2. We've got personal goals for the children, which is part of the national curriculum and part of the COVID guidance at the moment. We've got a focus for the school games map. We've got sports captains coming back. We've got a focus on the teams. We've got, hopefully, going to achieve the quality mark, and we've got the return of the Daily Mile. So staff expectations, there was some monitoring of PE done in autumn too, and obviously this all links up to our vision from September as well. And it was noted that sometimes staff weren't always in PE kits. Now, this is always, from I can remember, being almost an expectation at Red Lane. It's to show the children that obviously we're committed and we have to bring our kits in, so they bring their kits in. So it is on your PE day, staff in PE kits. So, sorry, I realised I moved this slide around, but the staff do need to be in PE lessons now more than ever, because it's the continuous CPD, which I spoke about earlier. We are going to be expected to teach PE from September, and it's that opportunity that we should take advantage of at the moment, where we have got Adam and Beth, and we can say, okay, can I teach this little bit of this lesson, or how would you teach this bit of this lesson, and giving us a chance to explore and ensure that we're confident enough, so when we do come to leading those sessions by ourselves, we're doing it to the best of our ability. So again, as part of that, teachers in lessons, not just TAs, unless that's been agreed with SLT. So I do know there are some exceptions to that for staff, as that falls within their PPA and things like that. But on a general rule, it should be teachers in that lesson, not just TAs, and not TAs and teachers just sat down within the lesson. So as an element of the staff expectations is that you are joining in with the lesson. So whether that's, sometimes it's just behaviour management, sometimes it's taking a group by yourself. It might be as simple as, if you've got an odd number and they're working in pairs, you're obviously working with the partner that is left out. But it shouldn't really be staff just sat on the sidelines and watching, unless, first of all, they're taking notes for CPD, or they're taking a quick video for CSAR evidence. But other than that, teachers and TAs, if they are in the lesson, as well as joining in with the groups and getting something out of the PE lessons as well. So monitoring will take place in summer to ensure like these standards and expectations are being met. And as I said before, with all of the little things that we're hoping to implement, they are quick fixes. So I hope that makes sense. So from after half term, so from after February, half term, yeah. It's early morning for me at the moment. Pictures and videos on CSAR, because as I said, the submission date is end of February for the quality mark, which I'm hoping to be able to go for. So any little bit of extra will really help me at this point. The Daily Mile, to everyone just to get out and have a go. We can have some feedback on whether it's working or what we feel about that towards the end of summer. The personal goals to be set, as I said, I have got the 60-second challenges, and I've got a personal goal certificate of what they're aiming towards doing on the system, and I can distribute those. And the teacher expectations that we've just been through, so teachers in PE lessons, wearing kit, and participating as part of their expectations. So 4 little things that I feel are quite quick fixes that could really help us towards building our great PE curriculum. So I do appreciate that's quite a lot to take in, and there are a couple of changes there. There will be another staff meeting and some training before we start teaching our lessons from September, so I don't want anyone to worry about that. I just want people to take advantage of the fact that we've got Adam at the moment and Beth, so we can use their sporting knowledge and their skills to be able to use it as CPD. So any questions, you can send me an email, but I will save this PowerPoint in the PE folder for anyone to refer back to. And if anyone's not sure about anything I've spoke about today, then obviously just feel free to come and see me and ask me questions. Have a good day. Thank you.